scene with Sasha isn't just another Russian language scene in Heated Rivalry. It's actually one of the key turning points in Shane and Ilya's relationship and one of the key turning points for Ilya's character. This scene puts us into Ilya's old world. It's Russia with his father, Svetlana, Sasha, all this pressure, guilt, and everything we talked about. And we see how he starts acting differently and making different choices. And that's why this scene is so important. Let's talk. Welcome to my channel. Here I talk about TV characters, scenes, and the emotional logic behind them. If this sounds like your type of content, subscribe. It's definitely worth it, especially since we talk a lot about Heated Rivalry. Yeah, I think that this scene is very smart and very important for the whole storyline of the series. What we see in this scene? We see Russia, Olympics, and Ilya back with his family, back with all this pressure created by the situation and his father, of course. He's around his old friends like Svetlana, and we then see Sasha. This is the environment where he used to live for years. This is the place that he knows, but we see that something is different about him, right? And this scene and this situation is a great test for Ilya. And we see how it plays out, and it's just amazing character growth, okay? So, and this scene consists of two parts. The first one is Svetlana, Sasha, and Ilya, three of them in the bathroom, in a hotel room, I guess. And the second part, it's not an official definition, okay? It's just me dividing it into two parts. And the second part is actually Ilya and Sasha alone. So let's handle it one by one. So the first part with Svetlana, I actually love what this show did to Svetlana, because in the book, she's more like a side character. Here, she's one of the main characters. She's actually one of the main supporters of Ilya. So she's always on his side. And also, she's not a throwaway female character like that happens in some romances between men, right? She has her dignity. She supports him. She's his real friend. And she does not suffer from Ilya choosing Shane. That's amazing. I'm very glad to see this. And I also love her monologue actually in this episode when she tries to talk to Ilya. She understands him when she says, you should stop caring about what your father thinks, because he would never be satisfied. She's so true. This is what I would say to Ilya. And also, I think it also speaks a lot about their relationship. They are very close, because the things that she says to him about his father are quite rough and quite sensitive. And if you don't have that close relationship with someone, you cannot say things like that, or you have to leave some space for another person to figure it out on their own, right? And she, let's say, crosses this boundary, and she knows that that's okay in their relationship, and she just tells the truth, like, you should stop caring about what your father thinks. He's always gonna be punishing you and blaming you for everything. Just stop caring about it, please. I would hesitate a lot about telling someone something about their parents, except maybe my husband, but because it's a very sensitive topic. In that situation, you can become a scapegoat, because a person can still choose family and they still love their parents, and it's a tricky thing, okay? We'll talk about it in the Sasha part, but she gets him, she listens to him, and she supports him. And then she says, like, stop caring about the Olympics. If now you have a real chance to get your Stanley Cup. She's great. She just cheers him up and supports. I love it. So let's get to the Sasha part of the scene. So as we know, Sasha is the ex-male lover, first male lover. We get back to the word lover. Can we use it here? I hope yes. I'm gonna go with this one. You know it's right if I'm wrong. Sasha is very important here, because Sasha is trouble, and we know from episode 1 that Ilya loves trouble. So that's why they had this relationship, because they love danger, thrill, excitement. And we have to admit that this thrill, danger, and excitement used to work for Ilya really well, because trouble for him felt safer for a very long time. Only his family is trouble, sorry. He knows how to navigate trouble and this dangerous situation. He used to exist in them. That's why he chose it. I think the main thing, and we also see it on the contrast with Svetlana, that Sasha does not care about Ilya. It looks like he cares only about like his body, and he does not care about his feelings, or that he just lost to another team, that he just lost the Olympics in general, right? He did not even see the game. He's there, like, and he knew he's gonna meet Ilya. Like, even Miles saw some clips of the game, like, and he was not sleeping with Shane. But yeah, like, no interest at all. He speaks about some generic stuff. He doesn't care about how Ilya is doing. He completely ignores this. This is so weird. He just ignores him as a person, but somehow he still talks to him. Yeah. And of course, we have to talk about the contrast between Sasha and Shane. So Sasha is representing the old trouble, and Shane is representing new boring world. Sasha is everything that Ilya used to want: thrill, excitement, danger, flirting, and everything. And Shane is something new, something like a real connection, a real feelings, real emotional closeness. And when I say boring, I mean stable, steady, and predictable. It's something new for Ilya. We see him starting to crave this feeling of connection and something more stable than this trouble. And this is what he starts doing. He's with Sasha, but he does not choose Sasha. He rejects him, actually, because he starts understanding that Sasha is not what he needs. He needs some connection and emotional support. This is a milestone there, because for the first time, Ilya is facing trouble, danger, but he does not choose it. He does not go there. We then see that he chooses Shane, but he chooses something better for himself. And that tells us that Ilya is changing, that Ilya starts making different decisions in the same old environment of Russia. So boring is the new sexy for Ilya. So I think this scene is where viewers can see this shift happening. That's why it's so important. And actually, I think that Ilya starts choosing Shane in this particular shift that we see, because we see a message from Shane on his phone. If it was not about the message, I would say that maybe Ilya was just discussed with Sasha. Maybe he was too sad or too disappointed, or maybe it was not a good place for them. Yeah, but we see a text message from Shane, and it completely changes the mood, because if Ilya checks the message from Shane, that means that he's thinking of him, and that gives us some information about Ilya's thoughts at that particular moment, at that scene. Small comparisons between Sasha and Shane. Check out how Sasha is dressed. So he's dressed in a black short with some red flowers, so it's quite aggressive, fashionable, and sexual, I would say. And we know how Shane dresses, right? He's all comfy, sporty, athletic, and everything. So it's just a pure comparison of those two people. Also, like, we see a kiss between Sasha and Ilya. Sasha's kiss feels aggressive, performative, like dangerous and everything. And we saw the kisses with Shane. They are totally different vibe, totally different feeling. And that's also the contrast between those two right there. But I think the worst thing for me in that scene, how Sasha like totally ignores Ilya as a person. He does not offer him care, support, or anything. Have you ever had an experience with, like, when you talk to someone and they deliberately ignore that you're sad or disappointed, and they start talking about some random stuff? This is a great growth moment for our beloved character of Ilya. An amazing way of showing character development for me. I love the scene. Language-wise, I would like to say that, like in the previous videos, I said that they do not swear in that scene. That's also true about the scene. For example, Svetlana just says, "You should stop caring about what your father thinks," so that she does not swear. Sasha pronounces words in Russian a little bit differently because he has accent. In Russian, that's totally okay. I'm not going to be nitpicking on anything like that here. So maybe that's why it sounds a little bit different to you. So that was my take on the scene between Sasha and Ilya. We see Ilya growing as a character, and we see Sasha as a comparison to Shane. Sasha is trouble, Shane is boring, and we see how Ilya starts choosing Shane. And actually, the scene he stops sleeping with other men, but he continues to sleep with other women. But that's for next video. We need to talk about Ilya's sexuality, finally. Yeah, let me know your thoughts about this scene in the comments. I would be glad, as always, to read and reply to your comments. I have an idea about another series of video about Heated Rivalry. The draft name is 7th rewatch of Heated Rivalry with my commentary. I need your opinion here because it's a bit different what I'm doing right now, right? Let me know if you think this is something you're gonna watch. See you in the next video. Bye bye.